السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وخليله وصفيه في أمره، بعثه الله بين يدي الساعة بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا، فبلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده، فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه ما دامت السماوات والأرض، عليه وعلى آله وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين الطيبات الطاهرات، وعلى الصحابة والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان على قواعدهم ونهجهم إلى يوم الدين، وأنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وبعد، فيا أيها الذين آمنوا أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله عز وجل، كما قال سبحانه في كتابه الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. All praise and thanks are for God, the one who always is and who needs none. Yet all were never there and need him. So I praise him a praise that will never be enough. And I testify that there is none worthy of our worship and submission, our humility, our dreams, our passions, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the last harbinger of his message for mankind itself, illuminating the world and the heavens till the end of days. Thereafter, dear brothers and sisters, I remind myself, for my ears are closer to me than they are to you, that the taqwa of Allah is the essence of life. That consciousness and fear of Him in our lives is the purpose of existence. As God says in the Quran throughout, O you who believe, be fearful, be conscious, have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Taqwa is, if it is the essence of life itself, then what that means is you could keep talking about it and it would never cease to amaze you. Taqwa is not something that you can understand in one day, nor is it something that you can implement in one day. Yet the essence of it should be clear to any who has faith. From the many dimensions of taqwa is our relationship to Allah, and then the relationships that Allah has created in this world. And we all know that these relationships are temporary. When we die, we will be alone. When we will be resurrected, everybody will say, Nafsi, nafsi, myself, myself. Everybody you worked for, your children, your parents, your spouses, everybody. Nafsi, nafsi. Except, illa al-muttaqun. Except for the God conscious. And then inshallah, we will all be gathered in Jannah. So when it comes to these relations that Allah has placed for us in this world, and remind you, that's the key here. Allah has placed these relationships in this world. It then becomes incumbent upon us to understand and recognize how to interact and how to evaluate the quality of each relationship. When you are able to do that, you have attained taqwa in one of its many aspects. How? The question is how? If you are able to give the right haqq to each person and give them their right taqdeer, their right quality of measure, then you will know who comes first. It is only when you are not able to do that that you have an inconsistent lifestyle, that you're constantly conflicted. If you love somebody more than you're supposed to, if you're attached to somebody more than you're supposed to, if you hate somebody more than you're supposed to, if you have more trust in somebody or more hope in someone than you're supposed to, this is a lack of consistent connection. So this type of person will in life always be flip and flopping, back and forth. You will see some days he will take such decisions. And then the other day, when the person who he has given more taqdeer to, more quality measure of relationship to, he will end up turning towards them. Whether that be in fear, hope, love, whatever it is. And so, instead of loving a person for Allah, hating a person for Allah, having hope in them for Allah, being close to them for Allah, and this is everybody in your life. This does not include even yourself. Because remember, the self is simply a place to act upon the wishes of God. If you do that, then what will happen? You will not be loving somebody for the sake of Allah, but rather you will be loving them and not for Allah. Hating them and not for Allah. And this person falls into the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. those who had true faith for God and they did not dress their faith with tyranny, with oppression, with dhulm, with injustice. For them is peace. Yes, salam. For them is peace in life. They're not the ones flipping and flopping right and left, here and there in life. They're the ones who are at peace, and they are the ones who are guided. The Sahaba, they were alarmed. They said, Ya Rasulullah, وَأَيُّنَا لَمْ يَظْلِمْ نَفْسَهُ. He said, O Prophet of God, which one of us does not wrong themselves? The Prophet ﷺ said, this is when one does shirk, when one takes partners with God. And remember, shirk is of many sizes and levels. There's shirk that takes you outside of the fold of Islam. مُخْرِجٌ مِّنَ الْمِلَّةِ. And there is that which does not. When you attach more value to somebody than you're supposed to, this is a type of shirk that does not take you out of the fold of Islam, but it is dressing your faith with injustice. This type of love is only for Allah. This type of fear is only for Allah. This type of hope is only for Allah. When we, dear brothers and sisters, are able to achieve this level of existence, this type of lifestyle, this type of emotional connection to ourselves, the world, and most importantly to Allah, we will achieve happiness and sweetness of Iman. The Prophet ﷺ said, the narration of Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, which is narrated in the Bukhari and Muslim, ثَلَاثٌ مَنْ كُنَّ فِيهِ وَجَدَ حَلَاوَةَ الْإِيمَانِ. Three things, three attributes, three qualities, if they are found in an individual, he will be able to taste the sweetness of Iman. مَنْ أَحَبَّهُ فَلَا يُحِبُّهُ مَنْ كَانَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَحَبَّ إِلَيْهِ مِمَّا سِوَاهُ. That Allah and His Messenger are more beloved to him than everything else. Anything else. He loves nobody more than Allah and His Messenger. That means yourself. Just like the hadith of Umar. Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than everything except myself. And he said, no, ya Umar. Until you love me more than you love yourself. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than myself. He said, Al-ana ya Umar. Now do you truly believe, O Umar? So the first attribute is to love the Prophet and His Messenger more than yourself and your family, your children, your siblings, your parents, more than all of it, you love Allah. And that love, remember, that love is it's a relationship. Allah is not far. Huwa qareeb. He's near the ones who call upon Him. He's close. When we go into sajda, He is closer to us than our own arteries. He's near. He comes down to the first heaven. We don't wake up. He asks us. He says, who is awake? Who will call upon me? I will answer. Who will ask me? And I will give. Who will ask for forgiveness? And I will forgive them. Who? Our relationship with Allah needs to be real. We use it as like lip service. So our love for Allah and His Messenger is more than anybody else. And then the second is, and this was the key, وَأَن يُحِبُّ الْمَرْءَ لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. And he loves a person, and he loves them only for the sake of Allah. This is really hard. This is really difficult. Because when I love my mother, I love my wife, I love my children, it's really hard. This is natural, fitri love. How do I make that love for Allah? By remembering that life is for Allah. Theirs and mine. So I need to deal with them with that in mind. When I get upset with my wife, I don't transgress. I don't do dhulm. Why do I not do dhulm? Because it is for Allah. When I spend on my family, you could spend on your family your entire life and not get that reward. But if you remember that this is an act of worship, khalas. Now you're in a state of worship. Now you are worshipping Allah while you are simply spending on your family, paying the bills, getting groceries. And the last one is وَأَن يَكْرَهَ أَن يَعُودَ إِلَى الْكُفْرِ كَمَا يَكْرَهُ الْمَوْتِ. That a person who hates to go back to kufr the way he hates death. And this means to be constantly on alert, to recognize, to see that, look, yeah, I might love you right now for the sake of Allah, and I might hate you right now for the sake of Allah, but maybe later onwards it becomes personal. Maybe later onwards it becomes more than that. Maybe I'm trying to just satisfy my own desires by loving you. I need your love. You don't need anybody's love except Allah's love. When you begin to believe that you need other people's accreditation and their recognition in your life, that means you're not working from an Allah-centric perspective. That means Allah is not coming first, other people are coming first, you are placing yourself first. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the riwayah Sahih on Abi Umama al-Bahili radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, من أحب لله, whoever loves for Allah, وأعطى لله, and gives for Allah, وأبغض لله, hates for Allah, then this person is the one who is guided. So when you live this type of lifestyle, you have gained certain things, certain qualities that nobody else has. The first one is you are constantly in a state of ibadah. Constantly in a state of ibadah. Yani, you're just dealing with people, right? But you're not looking for anything from them. You're not looking for them to love you back. So you did something for somebody, and usually what is it that you, like, at least be good to me? Nah, khalas. I don't really care, to be honest. Like, genuinely, I don't care. That's where you need to be. That's where we need to get to. Usually, we say that, but in reality, it's like, look, man, I paid for his meals, he didn't pay for mine. You know? Or like, look, I got him this gift, he didn't do this. I called him over to my family's house, and he didn't do this for me. This right here means you didn't do it for Allah. That means you didn't love for Allah, you didn't hate for Allah, you didn't give for Allah, you did for other than Him. So that's the first. When you start doing this, many of the Salaf, when they would do something, they would quickly walk away. Why? Because they don't even want this person to say, Jazakallahu khairan, Allah yajzik al khair, may Allah reward you, etc. No, they don't even want that because they don't want it to be spoiled. So they just quickly walk away. That's why also when you do something for somebody, don't say, oh, what can I do for you? And you say just your du'as. Don't even say that. The ulama say don't say that. Because if you do that, it's as if it's a reward, it's a compensation for what you did. And you only want it from Allah. So you say, inshallah, may Allah give us both goodness. Instead, you give them du'as. And if they start giving you du'as, you say, wa iyyak, and for you, and for you. Why do we say wa iyyak? Because you don't want that to be the reward. So you say, and for you, and for you. And for you more. So that your reward is from Allah and nowhere else. That it's for Allah and nowhere else. And we see this at its most highest level right now for the people of Gaza. Where they are living, and the only thing that is keeping them alive is that they are alive for the sake of Allah. The only reason that they struggle and fight is for the sake of Allah. No other reason. And they know that the promise of Allah is true. And that the victory of Allah is near for those who believe. Then the question becomes, how do we live like that? Remember, this is not just a personal endeavor. This is not something that you do by yourself. This is something that must be done at a community level. And it's your job, it's my job, it's all of our jobs to make sure that happens. Part of that is being able to have spaces, places that allow you to think like this, grow like this, understand like this. Nurture yourselves and your families in this manner. And a good opportunity that's coming up, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is the conference that we will be having next week from October 12th to 13th. And it would be a really good time to have speakers from across North America and the world coming to speak on this very matter, on how to be an ummah that loves for the sake of Allah, hates for the sake of Allah, is one for Allah and nobody else. How do you flesh that out? How do you work together in that way? How do you not let small differences become differences that are absolutely parting? Wallahi, there are people, and I know there are people in this community as well, there are people who haven't seen one another or talked to one another for years now. What's the reason? Because he did this to me, he did that to me. There are people who haven't spoken to their own families, their own brothers, their own sisters, their own mothers, their own fathers. They're alive and they haven't spoken to them. Why? Oh, because he said something to me. He said this about my wife, said this about my children. Like, we need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, truly ask ourselves, am I living for Allah or am I living for other than Him, for myself and others? Am I doing a type of shirk that is making me do libs of my iman bi dhulm? Am I one of those who is wearing oppression and injustice on my faith by doing shirk with Allah? Even if it's not taking me out of the fold of Islam, am I doing that? So when we think of helping the people of Gaza, yes, we think of donations, yes, we think of making dua, these are all very important, but very important is building ourselves and our future generations to be able to think for the ummah, be one body, be one people, so that elevates us in our generations to come. This movement that we've picked up, nobody ever thought that we would see in our lifetimes, where you have public organizations, you have people giving awards to documentaries of oppression against Gaza. You have outright them taking them to court on the international court for their genocide. This is unprecedented, unfathomable. To see that happening in our lifetime, in a short period, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's a silver lining on everything. Part of that is keep the momentum going. From one of the many ways of keeping that going is to develop ourselves in our thinking, within ourselves, in our children, to live that type of lifestyle for the sake of Allah, to love, to hate, to hope, only for His sake, to be for His sake. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna wa'afina wa'fu anna. Allahumma ja'alna mimman a'ta lillah wa ahabba lillah wa abghada lillah. Allahumma ja'alna min al-muhtadin الذين نزلت عليهم السكينة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكر الله في من عنده يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا إلا غفرته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا مبتلا إلا عافيته. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في غزة. اللهم انصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم يا رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا اعتدلوا ترصوا سد الخلل تم الصف الأول في الأول حادوا بين المناكب يا رب. استووا strain the lines, fill in the gaps. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
استغفر الله استغفر الله. السلام.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, the ICNA convention of 2024 Ummah X is on October 12th and 13th. As we mentioned in the khutbah, it will be from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. The venue is the International Convention Center on 6900 Airport Road. We'd ask, please, if you already haven't signed up, to please sign up with your families. There's all sorts of different programs happening. There's different stalls. There's food from across the world, speakers from across the world, and it'll be a really good time for the family and for all of you to kind of benefit, learn, worship, and at the same time enjoy. Secondly, for exit, please follow the police officer instructions. Those who follow the right lane, please turn right only, and those who follow the left lane, please turn left only to avoid the long waiting in the parking lots. Number 3, family halaqah tonight is here at Al-Falah Islamic Center. The topic tonight is Nation Builders, Stories of the Prophets. Speaker is Sheikh Riyad Urzazi. Allah yabarik fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. الله يحييك ويرفع قدرك ويسلم ان شاء الله بالصحه والمنعم
ما شاء الله
بخير.
حياك
سنك الكريم شيخي الفاضل. اسمك يا شيخ؟
انا اسماعيل حق.
اسماعيل حق.
الملي حق.
ما شاء الله ابن عمان عسل.
ما شاء الله.
الله يبارك.
انت منين؟
انا اصول من باكستان.
باكستان.
اي نعم.
اخواننا.
ونعم يا شيخ. الله يبارك.
احلى خطوه ما شاء الله.
الله يجزيك خير.
بارك الله.